Dodge this.
This is Sparta!
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Say hello to my new friend! Say what again?
I want to make him an offer, Captain.
Voice is strong.
You following me?
Ladies and gents, welcome to the 10th episode of the BTG MovieCast.
Whoop whoop, double digits.
My name is Stephen Nagel.
And my name is Dean Raval.
And we are your hosts, ladies and gents. So this, in case you don't know, this is a podcast where we talk about film and movies and TV and cinema and blah blah blah, whatever you want to call it. Because that's what we love to talk about.
Absolutely.
And this is our 10th episode, which is awesome. But on top of that, this week marks a year since our very first episode.
Yeah, for those of you who've been following us, this week was the first week that we launched our podcast, and it was about first movies.
Yeah.
And we've done 10 episodes since, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I mean, like, glass half empty side of things says that we should have 12 episodes after a year. But, you know.
Yeah, you're not auditors, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I think we'll be okay. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, guys, thanks for joining us in this latest episode. And Dean's just going to take you through what we'll be discussing today.
Absolutely. So our new segment for this week is going to be about Emilia Clarke and her recent inclusion in the Han Solo spin-off film. She'll be the lead in that. We'll just discuss that briefly, and then we'll also talk about our recommends. We had briefly mentioned before Atlanta, which is a Fox show helmed by Donald Glover. So I'll do kind of a season almost recap on that. I have spoken about it before, so I won't go into too much detail, but it's definitely something I recommend. And then we'll also be looking at Tickled, which is a documentary film that Stephen recently watched.
Yep.
And he has some thoughts about that. And then we'll talk about Doctor Strange as well. We're going to add a nice big budget sort of element to it. I know a lot of people's been watching it. It's Marvel's latest cinematic release. So we'll be talking about those for our recommends. Our bigger story, or our sort of main topic for this episode, is going to be about spectacle versus story. And it ties in quite nicely with Doctor Strange.
And it rolls off the tongue, man.
And it does. It really does. We worked really hard on this
Yes.
title, by the way.
Not.
No, not really. So yeah, we'll be talking about some films that are spectacle driven and not so much on story, and vice versa, and how it sort of appeals to, you know, the audience. You know, is it a big thing? Is it a small thing? Like, is it, you know, something that we should read too much into, or is it just, you know, one of those things that happens and, you know, it's best of both worlds, basically. So that's our topic for this podcast.
Yeah, we've got some cool examples that we'll be discussing, some of our favorite films and films we didn't like so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Emilia Clarke.
Yeah, Mother of Dragons, Khaleesi from Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And
Sarah Connor from...
And Sarah Connor, and
remake.
the chick from Me Before You.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I have no clue what her name is because I haven't watched the movie yet. Blasphemy, I know.
damn.
But I've been told that it's pretty awesome. Nagel, you've watched it.
I've watched it, and in a parallel universe, I cried.
Okay.
Yeah,
Not in the one that we currently
No.
know.
In a
Okay.
parallel universe, I cried.
Okay, fantastic. Well, anyway, Emilia Clarke, who's blowing up these days,
Yep.
is going to be in the new Han Solo spin-off
Yep.
that was recently announced. Well, she'll be starring alongside Donald Glover, who will be playing a young Lando. We don't know too much about Emilia Clarke's role at the moment. It's recently just been released. Hopefully, by the time this podcast airs, we'll have some more information. So check your news sites with regards to that. But what do you think about inclusion?
Well, I mean, when you told me this morning, actually, like, we went on a bit of a mission to test some new gear we've got.
Yeah.
So Dean was like, over coffee, Dean was like, did you hear Emilia Clarke got cast in the latest Star Wars film? I was like, what? I thought it was actually like episode 9 or something. But then he was like, no, the Han Solo film. I was like, geez. My first thought was, is she Leia? And I was like, wait a sec. Leia won't be in that.
Yeah.
So
we had to adjust our whole the timeline and just see where exactly film fitted in. But anyway, she's part of the film, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So obviously, as we know, Rogue One takes it's basically 3.5. It takes place like after Revenge of the Sith and before A New Hope.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that the Han Solo film either takes place around the same time,
Sure.
or much earlier.
Yeah.
It's really gonna depend on whether Han and Lando know each other at that point.
That's the big thing, yeah.
If they still have to meet at that point, so Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Very, very interesting. Yeah. So we're excited about that piece of news, and we hope you are too, because it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Like we said, check your news sites with regards to updates on that. But yeah, that's our news segment for this week.
Cool.
So next we'll be going into our recommends. Like I mentioned earlier, and I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before, but Atlanta is a new show that's on Fox. Recently, season 1 just wrapped, and it's a really, really awesome show helmed by Donald Glover, who
so good.
He's one of the most talented people I've ever known. Like, he can do everything, and he does a really great job in Atlanta as well. There's 10 episodes for season 1. I did a 5 reasons you should be watching Atlanta blog post, which you can check out on btglifestyle.com. That was about 7 episodes in, but now that the whole season has been released, you can obviously check that out.
And it only gets better.
And it only gets better, absolutely. So, and it's been picked up for season 2 as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of my recommends. Like I said, you can check out my 5 reasons you should be watching Atlanta on btglifestyle.com. But yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I just want to add some things to some thoughts to Atlanta. The thing that I like about it, and I also mentioned this to Dean this morning, was usually this type of show about life or about nothing in particular. It's usually this type of show that you see the lead character is a white man.
Yeah.
It's that's just generally how it is. I'm thinking Seinfeld, Curb Your Enthusiasm, that type of thing. And I love that we have this show showing this very urban, kind of poor black community.
Yeah.
And a black man in a lead role of this type. And the thing is, it's got kind of this comedic undertone, but it's not a comedy.
It's not,
all.
It's got this weird kind of middle ground where you'll find it hilarious, but at the same time, it's not kind of marketed as a comedy.
Not at all.
And it's got some very serious, very thought-provoking elements to it as well, which I absolutely love. He does an amazing job at doing a little bit of both in this.
Sure.
I was worried that it was going to be a full-on drama, but I like, and especially the dialogue as well. Donald Glover can write amazing dialogue.
Yep.
Obviously a testament to his improv and early career. So
30 Rock Community,
absolutely. So he's got this down, and I'm so hooked on it.
Sure.
It's one of the best shows on TV right now, and I'm looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you read the synopsis, it's about 2 cousins who are trying to come up in the rap game.
Yeah.
But I mean, that sounds basic, but it doesn't operate in that arc exclusively. It's so different. It's like hanging out with these characters and being a part of their lives as they go through daily things.
Absolutely.
You know? So check it out, guys. Go read Dean's post on the blog and definitely be watching Atlanta. Next on, we have Tickled, which is a documentary that I recently watched. Dean hasn't seen it yet,
Not yet.
No spoilers, don't worry. But we don't generally spoil in our recommends anyway.
Yeah.
This was recommended by, as you guys know, I've mentioned this countless times. My favorite film podcast is the Slash Filmcast, and David from the Slash Filmcast recommended this movie Tickled, and he said it's pretty crazy, and yeah, that's the only way I can really describe it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So this particular documentary is about competitive endurance tickling, which is a sport that young men go through, and they basically tickle one another for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's, I'm guessing, a scoring system and a whole thing.
I don't know how the scoring works. They weren't that... they didn't go into that much detail on that. This movie goes to a really dark place, guys. As you can imagine, there's an element of fetishism in here.
Yeah.
But guys, this doesn't go where you expect it to go. That's all I'm saying. The directors of this film are David Farrier and Dylan Reeve. And David Farrier, some of you may know or may not know, he's a very popular, quite famous journalist from New Zealand, and he covers popular culture. So he's always, on a daily basis, he's always doing stories about the craziest people out there. So this particular topic, he found it online. He found a video of it online, and he started investigating, he started digging, and he started to encounter some resistance. So as you can imagine, this bit of a rabbit hole that he went down was quite a dark place.
Sure.
So I'm not going to give any more than that away, but guys, this is definitely worth your time. Check this out.
Fantastic.
It's crazy.
I think I absolutely am looking forward to seeing it. It sounds a little bit creepy, a little bit weird, which I don't know. I think it's
the type of thing where you'll watch it, but you can't look away. It'll make you really uncomfortable, but you can't look away, and you'll find yourself laughing at some points because you're seeing someone laugh.
Yeah.
a lot
Which
of the
is-
time.
yeah, it's
they're being tickled
instinctive,
and they're
yeah.
laughing, and it's almost like that instinctive, haha, should I laugh at
Yeah.
this? And then I don't know, like I was dealing with a whole bunch of emotions while I was watching it. It was crazy.
It's good to know.
So that's Tickled,
Yeah.
and directed by David Farrier and Dylan Reeve. Check it out.
Absolutely. Our third recommend and our final one is Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Absolutely. So that's the last Marvel film for the year. I know that Marvel's pretty much taking over Hollywood at the moment. Doctor Strange is directed by Scott Derrickson, and it is a Marvel film that not a lot of people know about. Not a Marvel character that not a lot of people know about. But I think that's what's great about Marvel is that they have such a wide sort of a base of material to explore.
I think. Sorry, just to interrupt you. Not a lot of like general people would know this character. I think where he ties in quite a bit is he's quite a prominent character in the Civil War saga.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think that's also the reason that he was most definitely included in this, because the way I see, there's going to be a lot of comic Civil War story overlapping into Infinity War Part 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah.
So that's why they have included him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you walked up to a person in the road and you asked them about Iron Man, they'd know exactly you're talking about Captain America as well. But Doctor Strange is kind of a more obscure to the general layman, whereas...
And it's interesting that you actually mentioned that, because a few years ago, before Iron Man was released, not a lot of people knew Iron Man.
Sure, true.
So, it's something that I think we're definitely looking forward to. And I like that Marvel's exploring all these different avenues. First, it was grounded in realism. And then they took it to the sky with Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy even. And now they're exploring different dimensions with Doctor Strange, which I think is fantastic.
So what's next, dude?
I don't know what's next. That's the thing. Are they just gonna suck up the whole universe and just explode? I don't know. But Doctor Strange, the title character, is played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who is also blowing up. I mean, he's been in pretty much everything.
Yeah.
He's been Sherlock. He's been Khan from Star Trek.
Alan
Turing. He's everywhere, and everyone loves him because I mean,
I don't think he's blowing up. I think he's blown up, and the explosion is just
it's just it's
like
rippling.
It's like this infinite explosion that's just lasting over years. Because usually someone would have a run for like maybe 1 to 2 movie years.
Yeah.
This dude is just
he's
continuing on.
Yeah, he's got momentum and he's just running with it. He's getting all the sort of roles, which I think is fantastic for him, because he's a great actor, and he's alongside some really talented actors as well, like Rachel McAdams, who is also in the film, and then Chiwetel Ejiofor. For those of you who want me to say that again, I don't think I can. No, I'm kidding. Chiwetel Ejiofor is fantastic. He was also in 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, and Z for Zachariah.
So a fantastic cast. We've only just touched the surface. There's really an all-star cast in this one as well.
Mads Mikkelsen, Tilda Swinton.
Absolutely, the list goes on. And it's
Benedict Wong. Sorry, I had to.
Funny story, Benedict Wong plays a character named Wong. Which is
don't even get me started on that, because that's a whole other discussion about the whole whitewashing thing and the way minorities are treated in the film. Yeah. But anyways, that's not today's discussion.
No, so it's not. But one of the things that we noted from Doctor Strange, and it's come up in discussions that I've had with various people, that Doctor Strange is an absolutely visual spectacle. Yep. It's something that from the first minute, you can't help but look at it, because it's mind bending almost. It's one of those things where you look at it and like, yes, it's taking place in like various dimensions, and it's playing with, it's altering what is real, time and space, and it's just a fantastic thing to look at. We obviously, from looking at it from a Marvel perspective as well, we obviously looked at how it ties into the much larger story, and the story of it all was maybe lacking in certain areas, kind of been there, done that. Sure. But I think what they're doing with Doctor Strange and what they did with Captain America: First Avenger is the kind of they're integrating him into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, existing kind of thing. Exactly. But it helps that it's a fantastic thing to look at. We watched it in 3D.
I regret that I didn't go watch this in IMAX, because while I was watching it in 3D and it was bending my eyes were doing weird things and my brain was like, what's happening? And I was like, I wish I'd gone to see this in IMAX, but I was a bit impatient. Yeah. Because the weekend that I went to see it, the IMAX tickets had been booked out. Yeah. So you were just like, but I was like, I want to see this weekend, so I'm going to see it. So I went for regular 3D. Absolutely. Yeah. I might just be reckless and go watch it in IMAX. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but we'll see. crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as of the time of recording this, it is still showing. So check it out if you haven't as yet. It's pretty cool.
Sure.
And
yeah, I think that also kind of brings us to our main discussion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this week, or sort of this podcast, we're talking about spectacle versus story.
Yeah.
And as we alluded to, Doctor Strange is a prime example of that, and that's actually why we chose this topic, because from a stylistic and cinematic point of view, Doctor Strange ticks all the boxes.
Ace.
Absolutely. But then from a story or narrative perspective, might not be like the most amazing thing ever.
Here's the thing, it's not terrible.
It's not terrible at all.
It's not like I'm walking away and thinking, you know what, that was like bullshit.
Yeah.
Like,
it wasn't messy.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because when we're kind of comparing the two, which is maybe why it won't live up to the spectacle that it was. I don't know if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the fact that maybe the story was done over and over. A lot of people actually said that this was Iron Man.
Yeah, that's the thing. And they said it's this Marvel formula.
Yeah. And to be fair, we've had like 16,000 Marvel movies now. So
yeah, and I think if they keep on with the formula, which has worked for so long, but if we get Spider-Man and it's like the same thing, I think people are going to start noticing it, and it's going to be a problem for Marvel.
Exactly.
But that's not necessarily something we're discussing in too much detail now.
Yeah.
The thing with Doctor Strange is the story's not bad. It's not great either. It's like, it's not something I'm going to remember in 6 years' time.
Yeah.
Not 6 years. 6 months, sorry. Like, let alone 6 years.
Yeah.
But like 6 months' time, I'm going to be like, oh, what was Doctor Strange about? Oh, he did some time turning, blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not even, for me, not even, the character work wasn't even that strong.
Yeah. I mean, I think they focused a lot on the spectacle of it all, which is great. I mean, like we said, it blew our minds in that regard. And we're not going to shoot down the film from a narrative point of view at all. But yeah, that does bring an interesting question on spectacle versus story.
Yeah, so what are some other films that you would think that...
Absolutely. I mean, like, remember a few years ago when Avatar hit the scene?
Yeah.
Like, James Cameron brought out Avatar, and it was a film that was hyped up so much, and we knew that he pretty much had like a whole planet that he was working on, and like he was working on this for 10 years, and it was a whole thing. And from a spectacle point of view as well, we hadn't seen that in quite a while.
But the story we had seen before,
exactly.
Obviously. It's the old story of the cowboy and Indian story, with the cowboy in captivity, with inverted commas savages, and then kind of becoming one of them. You know, that is exactly what happens in Avatar. It's a story that's not original.
I mean, it's tough though, because you can't really do a lot of original things these days. But I mean, there are some people that are doing it, and we'll get to
we'll get to
a
the
little
end
bit
of
later.
this, you know.
But I mean, there's some
stick
people
around for that.
Yeah, stick around for that. Yeah, don't switch us off just yet. But that was another prime example. I know you obviously thought of a few as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, just to continue with Avatar quickly, like, if you think about James Cameron and the way that he approaches filmmaking, this dude comes to his filmmaking process with a story that's like sorted out, but then he also comes with some random piece of technology. Like,
he's always pioneering. He's always innovating.
He's always pioneering and innovating, and he actually brought this intense like motion capture and 3D production, like Jordan principle and post-production kind of method that he used for filmmaking, that's been adopted by other filmmakers like Peter Jackson for The Hobbit and so on since then. And motion capture is kind of like it's like a standard in the industry now, but he was like one of the pioneers of motion capture, to use that extensively in film. So I mean, like, that's also something with Cameron, that the production process that he evolves in such a way to make that spectacle.
Absolutely. And I remember when we saw trailers for it, and when it was released, we were like, we have to go watch this in the cinema. We have to watch this in 3D IMAX. It has to blow our minds, because it looked like a visual spectacle, and that is an absolutely fantastic thing.
Next, we've got a film that kind of didn't live up to the hype, and that is Independence Day Resurgence. Directed by Roland Emmerich.
Yeah,
Whatever. Okay, and it stars Liam Hemsworth, Baby Hemsworth.
Baby Thor.
Baby Thor, sorry. Jeff Goldblum and Bill, what's his name? Pullman, sorry. Yeah, so that's kind of your core cast. I mean, there's a massive cast list there, but we're not going to go through all of that. It's kind of like the top build. So, Independence Day Resurgence. After I mean, everyone knows Independence Day. Whether you live in the States or not, your local television station probably does reruns every 4th of
for
July.
sure. That iconic image of the White House being
Yeah, exactly. That's always in the promos. We've got ETV.
Yeah.
Tonight on E.
Watch the White House get blown up.
Yeah. So, I mean, like everyone knows Independence Day. Will Smith's character, very charismatic, very funny, very cool movie, awesome special effects that don't stand up today.
Yeah.
But, I mean, for its time, it was pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When this sequel was announced, the reaction was quite divided. A lot of people keen to re-enter that world, and a lot of people also very skeptical about how this would turn out, because sequel after sequel they fuck up.
Yeah, always.
And then the trailer hit, and it was like, oh my god, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
That was everyone's reaction. The CG looked unbelievably awesome. The lines that they decided to use and the way it was cut together, it was very emotional, it was hair raising, gave you goosebumps. And then the movie hit and it was complete dumpster fire. It was shit.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish it.
Really?
I couldn't finish it.
Yeah.
I could not.
I didn't watch it, unfortunately. Mostly because of reviews.
Okay. Well, yeah, so it was terrible. And I mean, that's that whole thing where kind of like the spectacle versus the story.
Yeah.
They had the spectacle, like for the most part. I mean, some of the CG and effects didn't stand up. But what was shown in the trailer looked really fucking awesome. If they stuck to that with a great story,
Yeah.
this thing would have been off the chain. But
Yeah.
yeah, the story was completely crazily stupid, and I can't even remember half of what it was, because it was just playing there, and my eyes were glazing over as I was watching it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's really an example of a film that kind of had a chance based on a really good trailer. And I mean, people have had the same criticism for Suicide Squad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saying that the trailer was so amazing, and then I don't know, the film itself not so amazing.
Yeah, probably didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah.
And then you get films like Reservoir Dogs, for instance, where it's, the story is actually really great. The narrative is fantastic. It's not much to look at in terms of spectacle. It's not a Doctor Strange. You're not going to sit there. You're not going to want to see it in IMAX, for instance. Exactly. It's a really great story, though. And that we're not taking anything away from that. It's a film that, you should watch if you haven't yet. It's great in terms of its characterization, in terms of the dialogue. I mean, Quentin Tarantino is amazing. But they're not all going to be the spectacles, and sometimes that's okay. You know what I mean? Like, the spectacle versus story is, it doesn't have to be spectacle first or spectacle at the top. Yeah. You can always have a decent story, and it's still a worthwhile movie. And I think that's a really good example of that. You do get those who kind of tick both boxes, and I know you've got an example of one.
Yeah, so like if I think of a film that's grounded in realism, but it's shot so amazingly beautifully, and that is Sicario.
Yeah.
Sicario is directed by Denis Villeneuve, or whatever the fuck you say that. And it stars...
We're really sorry, Dennis.
Denis Villeneuve. Anyways, and it stars Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, and Josh Brolin. Josh Bromance. So yeah, and this is an amazing film. It's shot by Roger Deakins, who has an amazing repertoire, and that's why the film looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
This was kind of a dark horse, just in terms of its stature in cinematic history, because it came out of nowhere. No one was expecting it to be anything more than kind of like a throwaway action, inverted commas, film. This thing is shot so beautifully. Like some of the shots of the horizons, the sunsets. There's even a couple of shots in night vision and infrared. They just look freaking amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, the budget wasn't as high as like your CG heavy Civil War
or
Avatar or Star Wars, but at the end of the day, it's still a spectacle to behold. Yeah, I would say. So that word spectacle can still be used to describe it visually speaking. Yeah. So I think that's an example of a film that is, grounded in realism, but it looks stunning. Absolutely. And it's a great story as well. Yeah. Amazing story.
For sure. I mean, if you're talking about ticking both boxes, one director for me comes to mind, and that's Christopher Nolan. Yeah. For some weird reason, he's managed to appeal to the narrative kind of purists and also those who are looking for something spectacle.
Yeah.
He's done it with Inception. He's done it with Interstellar as well, and obviously his Batman trilogy as well.
Here's the thing with Nolan. He manages to take a fantastical thing and ground it in realism. That's what he did with the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the Batman trilogy that he did. It was kind of like this superhero but grounded in realism.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And the thing also about Nolan is that he's able to fill up seats.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's able to sell movies. When we say grounded in realism, we don't mean that in kind of empirical sense. Like, if you think about Interstellar, it's not empirically grounded in realism.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Neither is Inception.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's got this world. It's where you could picture that being in a parallel world where that could happen.
Yeah,
you know what
for
I
sure.
mean?
No, absolutely, and even his next film, Dunkirk,
Yeah.
which a lot of people have been hotly anticipating as well. It's something that I think he's got down. He's got a fantastic group of people that he works with as well. He's worked with David S. Goyer, who a lot of people know. Obviously, Jonathan, his brother.
Yeah, who's helming Westworld at the moment.
Absolutely, and he's written quite a few of his screenplays as well. They managed to have a fantastic story, and then they work so hard and so well on developing a spectacle of a movie. I remember when I first saw Inception, I was like, this is unbelievable. This just blew my mind.
Sure.
Not only the fact that the story is so unique and so groundbreaking in a sense, but also because what I expected it to be was exactly what it was going to look like visually. They took something that was something that we had never seen before and they made it an absolute spectacle.
Yeah.
Just something, a testament to Christopher Nolan's huge body of work so far.
Yeah.
And it's only like going to rise, I think, from here.
Yeah. It's been a while since someone has said like Christopher Nolan made a shit movie.
Yeah.
If I think about kind of like the last kind of down after an up was Dark Knight Rises.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I mean, like, and that had a lot to do with Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. Just the way that entire film was put together. The Dark Knight Rises just didn't stand up to that, but it wasn't a shit film.
No, not at all.
Either. Like, it wasn't terrible.
Absolutely. I mean, he's got, like, for instance, even Memento, which is fantastic storytelling. And then, I mean, you even got The Prestige. So he's got this whole thing about spectacle and story completely locked, and it's fantastic. Yeah,
and I'm hoping that more filmmakers can kind of lean towards that, because at the moment there's kind of this rush to the spectacle. If there are explosions, you get the Michael Bays of this world. If there's explosions and millions of CG pieces moving together and blah, then it's gonna draw the crowds, and you can just kind of hear that freaking orange tanned idiot standing in the boardroom pitching shit like that. The execs just swallowing all that shit. I mean, I hope that more filmmakers and also gatekeepers in the industry can move towards like looking at story as much as spectacle.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be. I mean, the topic for this week for this podcast is spectacle versus story, but I don't think the versus needs to be there. I think there is more than enough room for a collaboration in both of those elements.
But like what tends to happen is that some stories lean more towards the one side than the other. And the thing is, like, usually when they lean more to the side of story, it's a win for everyone. But when they lean more to spectacle and away from story, then it's, shit. So it's a spectrum at the moment, but what we're saying is it doesn't have to be.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be binary either. You don't have to think of it as, well, we're going to have focus on the story and then it's not going to be a spectacle, or we're going to look at it as a spectacle and not have a decent story. I mean, there's room for gray areas, and, it's something that we should definitely explore.
I mean, we're not discounting the amount of hard work that goes into creating a film. But at the moment, I feel like, I mean, this ties back to our previous podcast where we did like Hollywood copycatting. We kind of like the same thing keeps on coming out of Hollywood just because they see what works and they run with that. And I think this is almost a symptom of that. We can hope for the best, but who are we, dude?
Exactly.
Just a bunch of film lovers.
But
it's adding our voice to the broader discussion, and hopefully there are people out there that agree with us, and hopefully you guys agree with us.
For sure.
Let us know what you think. Drop a comment on this podcast.
Yeah.
Tweet at us or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. We want to hear what you guys think about the larger topic of spectacle versus story. And, hit us up with some comments. Let us know your thoughts.
Cool, guys. I think that brings our discussion for this month to a close. Check out our next podcast, which we will feature in the month of December.
Yeah.
And that will be on
the top worst movies of 2016.
Yep. Our picks for the worst movies of the year so far.
Yeah.
So join us for that, guys. Other than that, you can catch us online. You can find us at btglifestyle.com. You can catch us on Twitter at btglifestyle, on Instagram at btglifestyle, and on Facebook at facebook.com/btglifestyle. Dean, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Dino15. So that's at DEENO15.
And you can catch me on Twitter, Stephen, at the Snagel, THESNAGEL. Cool. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and have an awesome time.
Cheers. Peace.
Dodge this.
This is Sparta!
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Say hello to my little friend! Say what again?
I want to make him an offer.